Stop waiting. Nobody is coming to save you. Not when you feel tired, not when life becomes unfair, not when your dreams start collapsing, not when fear enters your mind and tells you to quit. Look around. The moment you realize that nobody is coming is the moment your power begins. Because that is the day you stop negotiating with excuses and start building yourself. There comes a moment in life that changes everything. Not the moment you get lucky. Not the moment someone believes in you. Not the moment circumstances become easier. It is the moment you stop waiting. The moment you stop pointing at the world and quietly decide, from this day forward, my life is my responsibility. That moment is uncomfortable because responsibility removes every hiding place. For years, people tell themselves stories. I didn't have support. I wasn't born with opportunities. People betrayed me. The timing wasn't right. And maybe some of those things are true. Maybe life really has been unfair. Maybe people really did disappoint you. Maybe doors really did close in your face. But there is a dangerous question that appears after every painful experience. What now? Because after the pain, after the excuses, after the disappointment, your life is still standing there, waiting for your decision. Imagine two people standing in the same storm. One says, "Why is this happening to me?" The other says, "What must I become to move through this?" Years later, they live completely different lives. Not because one had less struggle, but because one took ownership. Look at the people who transformed themselves. The athlete training before sunrise while nobody notices. The entrepreneur hearing rejection after rejection and still returning the next day. The student studying in silence while others complain about difficulty. Their power did not come from perfect conditions. It came from accepting that nobody owed them success. And this is where most people misunderstand responsibility. Responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for everything. It means refusing to surrender your future. It means saying, yes, this situation is difficult, but I will not hand control of my life to circumstances. Because the moment you depend on external rescue, your progress becomes fragile. You wait, you hesitate, you complain, you lose years. But the moment you decide to carry your own weight, something inside changes. You stop asking for permission. You stop announcing plans. You stop needing applause. You become dangerous, in the best way. Because now your actions are no longer controlled by moods, opinions, or fear. You become a person who acts. Understand this clearly. Nobody is coming to wake you up every morning. Nobody is coming to force you to train. Nobody is coming to build your future while you watch. One day, you wake up and realize the person you were waiting for was always supposed to be you. And strangely, that realization is not depressing. It is liberating. Because if nobody is coming, then nobody can stop you either. Your next decision, your next habit, your next action, that belongs to you. So stop looking around, look inward, stand up, take responsibility, and begin. Stop waiting to feel ready. That feeling you keep chasing, that perfect wave of motivation, that burst of energy, that magical moment where everything suddenly becomes easy, it is not coming in the way you think. Motivation is powerful, but it is unreliable. It visits, then it disappears. And if your future depends on whether you feel inspired today, then your future will always remain unstable. Think about it. Everybody feels motivated at the beginning. The first day of training feels exciting. The first day of learning a skill feels exciting. The first day of building a dream feels exciting. But what happens on day 17? What happens when nobody notices your effort? What happens when progress is invisible? What happens when your body feels heavy, your mind feels exhausted, and every excuse suddenly sounds reasonable? That is where lives separate. Most people stop, not because they lack talent, not because they lack potential. They stop because they made motivation their leader. But the people who create extraordinary lives understand something different. They do not ask, "Do I feel like it?" They ask, "What needs to be done?" Imagine a person waking up at 5 in the morning, cold room, no excitement, no music, no inspiration, only a choice. Sleep again, or stand up. That small decision repeated for months becomes strength. Not dramatic strength, quiet strength. The kind that changes lives. Look at any craft mastered over years. No one writes a book because they felt inspired every day. No one builds a strong body because every workout felt amazing. No one becomes excellent because life constantly rewarded them. They learned to move even when emotion disappeared. That is discipline. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-respect in action. It is the ability to make decisions based on values instead of moods. And this is where most people misunderstand success. They think successful people feel different. No, successful people often feel exactly what everyone else feels. Doubt, resistance, fatigue. The difference is, they train themselves not to negotiate with those feelings. They act anyway. There will be mornings when your mind says, skip today. There will be evenings when your goals feel distant. There will be seasons where results are invisible. And in those moments, remember this. You are not building outcomes. You are building identity. Every time you act without motivation, you send yourself a message. I do what I said I would do. That message changes you. Because confidence is not created by thinking. Confidence is created by evidence. Evidence that you show up. Evidence that you continue. Evidence that you do not abandon yourself. So stop worshiping motivation. Use it when it appears, but do not depend on it. Build routines. Build standards. Build discipline, because the people who win are not always the most inspired. They are the ones who kept moving after inspiration left. Show up, do the work, and become the kind of person who no longer waits to feel ready. One of the hardest truths you will ever face is this. Not everyone will walk with you. People will clap when you announce your dream. They will say, you can do it. They will tell you they believe in you. But when the work becomes repetitive, when progress becomes invisible, when sacrifice becomes real, many voices disappear. And this is where most people break. Not because they lack ability, but because they expected company. They expected support. They expected someone to keep them going. Listen carefully. Your journey was never meant to depend on constant encouragement. Some roads can only be walked alone. There will be mornings where nobody checks on you, days where nobody notices your effort, months where your growth is invisible. And in those silent moments, you will discover who you really are. Think about the person training before sunrise. No audience, no recognition, no celebration, only discipline, only repetition, only a quiet decision to continue. From the outside, it looks lonely, but inside, something powerful is happening. Character is being built. Because solitude reveals things noise hides. When nobody is praising you, do you still continue? When nobody believes yet, do you still act? When nobody understands your vision, do you still trust your path? That is where strength is born. Look at life closely. The moments that transform people are rarely public. The student studying late while everyone else is sleeping. The creator making videos that nobody watches at first. The person rebuilding after failure while the world moves on. Those moments are not glamorous, but they are sacred, because that is where identity is formed. And understand this clearly. Walking alone does not mean rejecting people. It means refusing to make your growth dependent on them. Support is beautiful. Community is valuable. But if your discipline disappears the moment people stop cheering, then your foundation is weak. There will be seasons where nobody understands what you are building. People may question you. Some may laugh. Some may leave. Do not chase them. Do not stop your movement to explain your purpose. Not everyone is supposed to understand your next chapter. Imagine climbing a mountain. At the bottom, the path is crowded. Everyone talks about goals. Everyone talks about change. But the higher you go, the quieter it becomes. Fewer people continue. Fewer people endure. Eventually, there comes a stretch where it feels like only you remain, and many turn back because silence scares them. But those who keep climbing discover something unexpected. You were never alone. You were becoming. You were meeting a version of yourself that comfort could never create. The person with stronger standards, stronger focus, stronger peace. So if life feels quiet right now, if your effort feels unseen, if your path feels lonely, do not mistake solitude for failure. Sometimes silence is preparation. Sometimes distance is growth. Sometimes walking alone is exactly how you become someone who no longer needs permission to case. Keep going, keep building, keep walking. One day the world will see what was created in the silence. Pain has changed more lives than comfort ever did. Yet most people spend their entire lives trying to escape it. They avoid difficulty. They avoid failure. They avoid rejection. They avoid discomfort. And without realizing it, they also avoid growth. Because the truth is, every stronger version of you is hidden behind something difficult. Life does not ask for permission before it tests you. One day everything feels stable. The next day something breaks. You lose the opportunity. You fail the exam. You get rejected. Someone leaves. A plan collapses. And in that moment, standing in the middle of disappointment, you face a decision that silently shapes your future. Will this become your excuse or your training? Most people see pain as proof to stop, but those who transform their lives see pain differently. They ask, what is this moment trying to teach me? Think about metal entering fire. The fire does not destroy it. The fire reveals what it can become. Pressure creates strength. Heat creates resilience. And people are not so different. Look at someone rebuilding after losing everything. At first, they feel broken. They question themselves. They wonder if they can continue. But slowly, something changes. They wake up again. They take one step, then another. And one day, they realize they are stronger than before the loss happened. Not because pain was pleasant, but because pain demanded growth. Think about the athlete who loses the championship. Everyone sees defeat, but they see information, weakness exposed, skills to improve, mindset to sharpen. That loss becomes training. Think about the person rejected 10 times before finally succeeding. Each rejection teaches patience. Each setback builds endurance. Each difficult moment expands capacity. The world celebrates the victory, but victory was created in suffering. And this is where people misunderstand struggle. Pain itself does not make people stronger. Response does. Two people can experience the same difficulty. One becomes bitter. One becomes wiser. One complains. One adapts. One gives up. One grows. The event is not the difference. The meaning they assign to it is. So when life becomes heavy, stop asking, why me? Ask, what is this building inside me? Because maybe this challenge is teaching patience. Maybe this season is teaching discipline. Maybe this setback is forcing you to become someone stronger than comfort ever allowed. Do not waste your difficult moments. Do not rush to escape every uncomfortable feeling. Sit with it. Learn from it. Use it. Transform it. There are parts of your character that can only be built under pressure. And one day you will stand in a place of strength and realize the moments you wanted to avoid became the moments that prepared you. The rejection, the delay, the failure, the loneliness. They were not punishment. They were training. So when pain arrives again, and it will, do not run. Stand, breathe, face it, and say, if this is the fire, then let it make me stronger. Excuses are dangerous because they rarely sound like excuses. They sound reasonable. They sound intelligent. They sound justified. That is why they trap so many people. Nobody wakes up and says, today I will sabotage my future. Instead, they say, I'll start next week. I just need more time. I'm waiting for the right moment. I'm stressed. I'm not ready yet. And day after day, year after year, those words slowly become a prison. Because excuses do not stop your life all at once. They delay it, quietly, until one day you look back and realize you traded years for reasons. Listen carefully. Your excuses may explain your situation, but they will never change it. There is a difference. Life can be unfair. Circumstances can be difficult. Resources can be limited. Those things are real. But if you allow every difficulty to become permission to stop, then your future becomes controlled by conditions. And conditions are never perfect. There is always something missing. More money, more confidence, more support, more energy, more certainty. If you wait for everything to align, you will wait forever. Think about the person who says they want to get stronger. They watch videos, read advice, plan routines, but every day they find a reason to postpone starting. Too busy, too tired, too late. Months pass, nothing changes. Then look at another person, not perfect, not motivated, not confident, but they begin. 10 minutes, one workout, one page, one uncomfortable action, and slowly life starts moving. Not because they had fewer problems, because they stopped negotiating with excuses. This is the truth most people do not want to hear. Action creates clarity, not thinking, not planning, not waiting, movement. You do not become ready and then act. You act and become ready. Every meaningful thing you want will require stepping forward before you feel prepared. And understand this. Excuses protect your comfort, but they steal your potential. Every excuse whispers, stay where you are. Stay familiar. Stay safe. Stay small. But growth speaks differently. Growth says, move anyway. There will be days when your energy is low. Show up. There will be days when fear is loud. Move. There will be days when your progress feels invisible. Continue. Not because you enjoy suffering, but because you refuse to surrender your future to temporary feelings. Look at people who quietly transform their lives. Most of the time, they are not doing extraordinary things. They are doing ordinary things without excuses. They train, they study, they repeat, they continue, again and again. And eventually the world calls them disciplined. But discipline often begins with one simple decision. Stop explaining. Start doing. So today, pay attention to the story in your mind. Every time you hear later, tomorrow, when conditions improve, challenge it. Ask yourself, what can I do now? Not perfectly, not completely, just now. Because your future does not care about your reasons. It responds to your actions. No excuses, no waiting. Move. There comes a point in life where you must stop searching outside yourself for the strength that has been waiting inside you all along. For a long time, people live as if someone else will become the answer. Someone will encourage them. Someone will believe in them. Someone will understand them. Someone will push them. And when that support appears, they move. But when it disappears, they stop. That is not strength. That is dependence wearing the mask of motivation. Real strength begins the day you realize that your life cannot depend on external rescue. Because people change. Circumstances change. Support comes and goes. Applause fades. But if your source of power is internal, you become stable even when life is not. Think about the strongest people you know. Not the loudest. Not the most visible. The strongest. Often they carry something quiet inside them. They do not collapse every time life becomes difficult. They do not need constant recognition. They do not announce every intention. They move because they made a decision. And that decision became identity. Understand this. Becoming your own source of strength does not mean becoming cold. It does not mean rejecting help. It means knowing that when nobody shows up, you still will. Imagine a person sitting alone late at night. No messages, no encouragement, no one asking if they are okay. Only silence. For many people, silence becomes proof that they should stop. But for others, silence becomes a mirror. And in that silence, they ask themselves, can I become the person I keep waiting for? Can I encourage myself? Can I hold myself accountable? Can I keep promises to myself? Can I continue without being seen? That question changes everything. Because one of the greatest forms of self-respect is becoming reliable to yourself. Keeping your word. Doing what you said you would do. Standing up after failure without needing someone to convince you. There is a reason some people become unshakable. It is not because life became easier. It is because they stopped outsourcing their strength. They trained it, day after day, one difficult decision at a time. Think about someone rebuilding their life after loss. Nobody can wake up for them. Nobody can heal for them. Nobody can take the next step for them. At some point, they choose. And that choice becomes momentum. Then momentum becomes confidence. Then confidence becomes character. And eventually people look at them and say, "You're so strong." But they do not see the truth. Strength was built in ordinary moments. The days nobody clapped. The mornings they wanted to quit. The nights they kept going. You must become the person who says, "I trust myself to continue." Because there will be seasons where life becomes quiet. There will be moments where support is absent. And in those moments, do not panic. Stand taller. Remember who you are becoming. You do not need permission. You do not need constant validation. You do not need perfect conditions. You need a decision that no matter what happens, you will remain someone who shows up again, again, and again. Become your own source of strength, and you will never wait to be rescued again.